And I'm going to say, welcome, Kathleen Callahan. Thank you for joining us. It's really nice of you to offer your time to the Second Shift and our members and to give us your experience as the lead esthetician for Hello Ava, which is a company that I discovered through a friend in the Women Female Founder Network, and just think it's a fascinating company because they use AI and sample quizzes as well as human touch to give people a product recommendations and also to sort of follow you through your progress as your skin improves. So thank you for being here. I'd love to just hear about your story and why you are in Hello Ava and how it works, and then dive into Maskne because this is something that is making me feel crazy right now, and I really
Well, my pleasure. Thank you so much, Jenny. I really appreciate it, and I'm so happy to be talking to everybody. So, like you said, Hello Ava uses AI and human expertise to help people narrow down the skincare choices. So, skincare shopping can be completely overwhelming. There's so many brands, there's so many different products, there's so much advice on the internet that we found that this was a real pain point for a lot of women. And so when you go to helloava.co, you take a short assessment, you put in what your skin concerns are, etc. At the end of the assessment, you get kind of a skin type, and then you can book a video consultation with one of our estheticians. And it's a quick consultation. It takes anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. We kind of go over what your current routine is, what your concerns are, and then we can tell you, yeah, those products are right for you, or no, you should be using this, or you should add this into your routine, or you shouldn't be using that product. And we really try to educate and empower consumers on what ingredients are going to be best for their unique skin type and concerns. And then you can shop the Hello Ava products. We work with over 100 brands. So we have a wide variety, and we take our vetting process very seriously of the brands that we work with.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have a very good product line because I checked it out. Obviously, not going to recommend a company that I don't think has a really good product line and has done their research. And this is one of the things that I have a very hardcore skincare routine because it's something I care a lot about, but I never know how to change products necessarily. I'm not great at change. So I'll use the same thing for a million years and it's not necessarily doing me any favors. And then I'll go look online or I'll see a recommendation and I don't know if it's actually good for me.
Right.
I think that it sounds like, oh, well, that's the product, but I don't know if it's helpful or whatever. So I think it's a very cool idea, especially considering you guys have such a deep well of really organic and just great products. But specific to Maskne, and I want to just ask you a bunch of questions because I know if I'm feeling this way, other people are too. And then people can ask questions in the Q&A and I'll bring up those questions later.
Awesome.
But I know we only have a half hour, so I could take this whole thing up with my questions. But we're in a phase now where we've been wearing the masks for so long. And that does not seem to be ending anytime soon. And now it's hot and we're doing more things. Well, I'm in New York, so it's getting warmer. We're doing more. It's kind of in the winter, it kept you a little warm, but now we're getting season where it's sweaty, or you want to exercise outside, or you want to exercise indoors and you have to wear a mask. And I'm noticing myself that I'm getting a lot more just red bumps and acne, and it's making me feel crazy. So what are your recommendations in terms of how to think about this and have the longevity to continue wearing it? Because we all know that wearing a mask is beneficial to everybody and something we just have to do.
Right. So the first thing is you want to think of Maskne a little bit different than you would a typical breakout, because it's really not the same thing. The Maskne is coming from a couple of different things. Number one is that there's friction that's happening when you're wearing that mask all day. So that friction of that mask rubbing against your skin is causing some irritation. So if you're seeing little red bumps, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a breakout. it could be friction from wearing that mask all day. So the number one thing, if that's the case, if you're getting little red bumps, is number one, you want to make sure as soon as you get home for the day, you take your mask off and you're cleansing your face with a very gentle cleanser immediately. So you want to avoid exfoliating cleansers. You just want to use a nice gentle cleanser. Another good ingredient for kind of irritation in the skin is an ingredient called niacinamide. So niacinamide is derived from vitamin B3, and it's a really good ingredient for helping with kind of red sensitized skin. So it's going to help with that redness in the skin, and it's going to help take down that irritation that you're getting from that friction, right? The other thing is you always want to make sure you're creating a nice, strong, natural moisture barrier between your skin and the mask, because that's going to help with the friction, and that's going to help reduce any irritation you're getting from the friction. So you want to make sure you're using an occlusive moisturizer, something that's pretty thick, right? Something that's pretty heavy, and it's going to, make sure that you have that nice, strong, natural moisture barrier. And I was telling you earlier, even petroleum jelly, like Vaseline, is good to put on in that area where you might be getting irritated right before you put your mask on. Don't worry, it's not going to clog your pores. Vaseline is very occlusive, meaning it has a large molecule size, so it's not going to penetrate your skin and clog your pores, but it's really going to help reduce that irritation. The other thing is you do want to be exfoliating, because another reason for maskne can be that, that heat and humidity that's getting trapped underneath that mask, if you're wearing it all day, can lead to clogged pores. So you do want to be using a chemical exfoliator 1 or 2 nights a week. The most gentle of chemical exfoliators is lactic acid. So lactic acid is naturally derived from milk. They don't use it in milk form, obviously, when they're creating products. They, kind of recreate that chemical compound, but it's very good for your skin because for a few reasons. It's a gentle exfoliator, so it's going to keep those pores nice and clear. And then it's also a humectant, so it's going to add moisture to your skin. So again, you want to be looking for that nice, strong, natural moisture barrier. So any products that are going to help you build a nice, strong, natural moisture barrier are going to be good for maskne. So lactic acid, niacinamide, like I said earlier, and then of course, a nice occlusive moisturizer right before you put your mask on, or 20 minutes before you put your mask on, to make sure that you're building that barrier between your skin and that mask, and that'll reduce the irritation and the breakouts as well. And then of course, making sure that you're washing your mask frequently. Some companies offer silk masks, which seem to be a better option because they're a lot less irritating if there is friction. So looking maybe for a silk mask might be a better option if you're wearing a mask a lot, if you're, somewhere that you work in retail or something where you have to be wearing a mask all day. A silk mask would be a better option for you versus, a cotton or the surgical masks.
So let me just backtrack for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been going to indoor gym to a Pilates class, and I wear my mask, but I've not been moisturizing because I felt like if I moisturized and then I was breathing heavily, that it was like too much on my skin. So you're saying actually the opposite of that.
Exactly. Yeah. Huh. You want to make sure that your skin, because again, that moisture, our skin, the outermost layer of our skin is called our natural moisture barrier. And our natural moisture barrier keeps pollutants and irritants from entering our skin, right? And it keeps moisture and hydration locked into the skin. So things that can damage your natural moisture barrier are over exfoliating, not moisturizing, sun damage. Those are all things that are going to damage your skin's natural moisture barrier. So you want to be looking for, again, products that are and ingredients that are going to help build a nice, strong, natural moisture barrier. Because once you have that strong barrier, the chances of your skin reacting badly or having irritation or breakouts are really going to decrease because you've got that protective layer on your skin. So ceramides are another good ingredient to look for in a moisturizer. Those are great for a strong moisture barrier. The niacinamide, don't over exfoliate. Stick to a gentle exfoliator. Like I said, I would stick with lactic acid and just use it, maybe a serum with some lactic acid, maybe 2 nights a week after you cleanse. Do a little lactic acid serum and then your moisturizer on top of that at nighttime.
So come home from work or for the gym and you use a gentle cleanser.
Yep.
And then you moisturize after that.
Yeah.
Even
You
or do you let your skin breathe?
Yeah. So let your skin breathe. Do a serum, either, lactic acid. Hyaluronic acid is another great ingredient for helping to lock moisture into the skin. I love serums. I always tell people, if you're going to spend money on a skincare product, make it a serum, because out of all the skincare, world, serums contain the smallest molecule size, meaning they can penetrate into your skin the deepest and really have the most effect on your skin. So, save your money on cleansers, and masks and things like that, and toners. But really where you want to spend the money is on a serum, because they're the most effective and they're going to really target your concerns the best. So that's really where you want to put your skincare dollars, is into a serum. And then, get a good cleanser, obviously, but it doesn't have to be a $50 cleanser. It can be a more affordable cleanser, and then save your money and buy the good serums.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that I've noticed is different than Maskne, but it's that we are wearing our masks. And then I noticed, because you're wearing a mask out in public, you're not using your face expressively in the same way that you would have. And so it's like the wrinkles are just coming out of everywhere, because we are now like, using our faces as if they're, drama masks. And I'm wondering what you recommend for that, besides just, freezing your face. What can we do to just fight the aging that's happening on the only top half of our face? So it's like, there's like acne on the bottom, and it's like red on the bottom, and then it's like full wrinkles on the top. It's lovely. It's a great time.
Yep. So, obviously the gold standard in terms of fighting fine lines and wrinkles is retinols, right? But if you're like not ready for a retinol, or you're a little nervous, because retinols can be a little harsh, they can be a little drying. They're not right for everyone. But one ingredient that's universally good for all skin types is hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronic acid is naturally produced by our bodies. It's found in our skin, it's found in our eyes, and it's found in our connective tissues, right? And it's what helps bind moisture to our skin and to our eyes and our connective tissues. And it helps keep our skin plump, right? But as we age, the levels of hyaluronic acid that our skin produces decreases. So adding a serum with hyaluronic acid is really great for fine lines and wrinkles, because it helps plump up the skin. It's going to bind moisture to your skin, and it's going to help plump up the skin. And it doesn't have that harshness of a retinol. So it's something that's safe to use morning and night. You don't have to worry about irritation. You don't have to worry about overstripping your skin, whereas like with some retinols, you may have that concern. So I would say start with a hyaluronic acid. You can always kind of graduate to retinols and incorporate them a couple of nights a week. But the best way to start is always with the hyaluronic acid, because it's universally good for all skin types, and it's very gentle and forgiving, and it's not too harsh, and it's going to help plump up that skin.
What about glycolic? Like, I got these glycolic peel kind of things. What is that beneficial for?
Yeah, so glycolic acid is considered an AHA, which stands for alpha hydroxy acid. So those are things like the glycolic acid, lactic acid that I mentioned earlier. So glycolic acid is derived from sugarcane. And again, it works by penetrating the skin's layers, dissolving those dead skin cells that can build up over time. one thing that happens as we age is that our skin cell turnover slows down. So when we're young, our skin cell turnover happens naturally every 7 to 14 days. But as we start to age, that process slows down between 28 to 40 days. So a chemical exfoliator like glycolic acid is going to help dissolve those dead skin cells. So it's going to help with dryness. It's going to help with fine lines and wrinkles. It's going to help with breakouts, and it's going to help with overall brightness of the skin. Because when those dead skin cells start piling up, it can make your skin dull, it can make your skin dry, and it can also give you some texture issues on your skin. So it'll help with that as well. So glycolic acid is a little bit more aggressive than lactic acid. So if you're new to AHAs, I would say start with the lactic acid, and then you can graduate to glycolic acid. But it's, like I said, a little bit more aggressive than lactic acid. So I would definitely, if you're not sure, book a consult with us and we'll go over your skin concerns and your skin type before recommending. It's not something I would recommend for everyone. It's not great for sensitive skin types. It's also not great for darker skin tones. So if you're a woman of color, glycolic acid probably isn't the right ingredient for you. You probably want to go with mandelic acid, which is gentler and better for darker skin tones.
Fascinating. And
yeah.
What about age? Is there different, you said retinol, like that's something I think of as like you increase your ability to use sort of harsher products as you get older, or
right.
Is that incorrect? People are starting younger and you should just dive in.
I mean, it really depends on what your concerns are, right? So if you have nice, clear skin and you're not really dealing with any concerns, you don't really need to be using a glycolic acid. Maybe when you get into your 30s, maybe then you want to start doing it, because that's really when the levels of your skin cell turnover are really starting to slow down more. So you just want to use something to kind of help that along a little bit. I always say, don't do stuff to your skin that it doesn't need. So everyone's basic routine should always be a cleanser, a moisturizer, and an SPF. That's what everybody needs, right? And then if you're dealing with breakouts, then you may need to add in a product with some salicylic acid, which is great for breakouts, or you may need to add in a retinol. Or if you're dealing with aging skin, then you might want to start thinking about a vitamin C or the glycolic and lactic acids. But everybody's skincare routine should just start with the cleanser, the moisturizer, and the SPF. And then if you want to target other concerns or issues, that's when you want to start thinking about other ingredients that are going to help with those concerns.
And that's, I guess, where the beauty behind the Hello Ava platform is, because you can read all of these things and get recommendations based on, whatever you're seeing online or you're seeing, being endorsed. But it really depends on your age, your skin type, the color of your skin.
Yeah.
There's so many different.
Your skin sensitivity, so one person might be able to use a retinol every night, but another person may only be able to use it 1 or 2 nights a week. So your skin sensitivity levels plays a huge factor in how often you should be using certain ingredients and certain products. That's why it's always great to get a consultation with somebody who's a professional in this, because we can really kind of dig in and take a look at your skin and, look at the way that you answered the quiz questions, et cetera, and then really kind of help determine how often, like what products you should be using and how often you should be using them. The key really is not only the ingredients, but how often you're using products.
What about changing up your routine for somebody like me who never changes their routine because I'm afraid of new products and I'm like, leave well enough alone? Is there something where it's better to change it up, like, working out different muscles, let's say, that you could, is it seasonally? Is it at different ages? Like, how should we think about changing products?
Yeah, I always like to say, do an evaluation of your skincare products twice a year, right? So springtime and fall, right? Because especially depending on where you live, if the climate changes in the wintertime, if you're living in a dry, cold climate like New York, then you probably do want to add in maybe a hydrating toner in the wintertime. You probably want to add in a heavier night cream in the wintertime versus the spring and the summer where it can be humid. Then maybe switch to a lighter daytime moisturizer that's not going to clog your pores, or that's when you could add in, your retinols, because retinol helps control oil production in the skin. So it's always a good thing to just evaluate it twice a year in the spring and in the fall, and then get ready for those months that can kind of wreak havoc on people's skin.
And just what about for products? Because it's, do you outlive products' usefulness if you use a certain type of product too long?
No, your skin doesn't get like immune to an ingredient. So no, it's more about just making sure you're changing it based on the seasons to kind of address your skin's needs during harsher months, like either, very humid summers or very cold winters. But in terms of ingredients, no, your skin isn't going to become immune to an ingredient. Okay. So if you have stuff that you like that works for you and you like it, keep using it.
Great. Okay. What about, I'm in the Q&A now, so we're getting a bunch of questions. So I'm reading off that because we only have about 8 minutes left. So if anyone has questions, throw them up in there. What about SPF? This is a good question because SPF is supposed to go on last, but if you moisturize and then you put SPF on, it feels very thick. It feels like you're very cloggy and you're doing the wrong thing. Is that right or wrong?
So there's two types of SPF, right? So there's chemical SPFs, and the way chemical SPFs work are they penetrate into your skin, and then when those damaging UVA and UVB rays hit your skin, they scatter the rays and they send them back out through some sort of heat osmosis. I'm not sure of the exact chemistry of it, but that's just, a very high level way of saying it. Then there's mineral SPF, and you'll know those because those typically leave a little bit of a white cast, right? So the mineral SPF sits directly on top of your skin. None of it's being absorbed into your skin, and then it deflects the damaging UVA and UVB rays. So again, it's important to know your skin type when picking a sunscreen. If you're a drier skin type, or you don't really have any breakout concerns, then a chemical SPF is going to be better for you because they mix those chemical, the ingredient that gives it the sun protection with other ingredients that can act as a moisturizer. So skip your moisturizer and just use a chemical SPF that has either sunflower oil or something in there that's going to get it some hydrating properties as well, and then use that as your moisturizer SPF in one. If you are sensitive to sunscreens, if you're breakout prone, if you're very oily, then a mineral SPF is going to be better for you because it's not absorbing into the skin. It's got a mattifying finish, and then it's just going to kind of sit on top of the skin. But again, you just want to be a little careful, especially for women of color, because they do tend to leave a white cast. I will say Black Girl Sunscreen, which you can find, I think, at Target, does a great job at making mineral sunscreens for women of color. I love their brand. We don't sell them on Hello Ava yet. I think we're going to be adding them soon, but I'm a big fan of them. So if you are a woman of color and you're looking for a mineral sunscreen, I definitely recommend Black Girl Sunscreen.
Is there a chemical SPF example of one, like a brand that you like? Are people afraid that they're going to get cancer because of it is being absorbed? And
no. What you're not going to get cancer. You're going to get cancer if you don't wear SPF.
Valid point.
But you are not going to get cancer from wearing sunscreen. First of all, your body only absorbs 30% of what you're putting on it. Think of it like this. If our bodies absorb everything into our pores, we would come out of the shower looking like a sponge. So your body is really only absorbing 30% of those ingredients, and they're not high enough levels that anything that's sold on the market is going to cause you cancer. So don't listen to the fear mongers. There's nothing wrong with chemical sunscreen. It's totally safe to use.
Oh, wait, is there one that you like?
I love, so my absolute favorite sunscreen brand is called Supergoop. We carry them on Hello Ava. I swear by their stuff. They have the Supergoop Unseen Sunscreen, is a game changer. It's completely clear. It leaves no white cast. It's a hybrid of a chemical and a mineral sunscreen, which is very different. And it really feels like it's a primer. So if you wear makeup, this is a great one for you because it goes on like a primer. There's no white cast, and then your makeup goes on really nicely over it. So anybody looking for a sunscreen that's easy to apply, doesn't leave a white cast, doesn't leave you feeling greasy, please buy the Unseen Sunscreen from Supergoop. It will change your mind about sunscreen.
And we're going to have to wear sunscreen under our masks. So if you're having something that's like more of a, has a drying feeling, it's probably going to be better than something that's very thick.
Yes.
Putting a mask on top of it.
Yeah. But yeah, and if you ever have like breakouts or you're nervous about sunscreen, opt for the mineral sunscreen. You know, if you're nervous about, you know, absorbing those chemicals, opt for the mineral sunscreen. But again, don't be afraid of chemical sunscreens. They're not going to cause you cancer.
All right. Well, we are reached the end of our time. This was very informative. I feel very clear in my plans to move ahead seasonally into the summer. And I appreciate your time and your expertise.
My pleasure.
Kathleen Callahan, who is from helloava.co and esthetician. So if we sign up and you go through the process with Hello Ava and go through the whole algorithm at the end, then you get to meet somebody like Kathleen, who's going to make sure that a person has overview of what you're being recommended, and then we'll follow along throughout seasonally or throughout just to see how you're doing with your skincare regime. So I'm definitely going to do that. I think that it's a great company, and I really appreciate you coming on and lending your expertise.
Thank you so much, Jenny. It was a pleasure. I appreciate you having me.
This was so fun. We're going to post this online, so feel free to send it to all your people, and anyone who missed it, enjoy. Thank you so much. Take care, Kathleen.
Have a great day. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.